looking at this right now just to see, is there something we should be doing? Or is it just an educational thing that we need to put out there, which I think you're going to hear a recommendation for that tonight. And with that, I'll let Wendell kind of walk through, Chief Mitchell, what.
Good evening, council, staff. I'm not here to answer all your questions tonight because you're probably going to have questions that I can't answer, but I'll take them back and I'll get those answers back to our city manager so he can share those answers back. But I feel I can answer a lot of questions this evening. So again, like we said, we're here just to have a discussion tonight. We want to discuss current laws, trends, and safety concerns regarding e-bikes, scooters, and other micro-mobility devices. I grabbed that term, other micro-mobility devices, because they don't all fit into it. It doesn't all fit into a nice box. So, and then we're going to discuss safety considerations, options, what we're already kind of doing within the city right now, what I've seen other cities do. And then we're going to talk about, should we consider any local laws or any local ordinance to help regulate those. So real quick, what are other micro-mobility devices? So I put up here a screen that kind of captures a large group of those. So anything you don't stand on and ride, which is a stand-up scooter, sit on and ride, which can be a pocket bike, electric dirt bike, an e-bike, a moped, the Segways, the electric unicycles, the traditional hoverboards we've seen for years, electric skateboards. That skateboard over here on the bottom actually has a remote you carry in your hand to drive it, and then the big one wheels for the off-road. The coolest thing on here I found that it's a mobility device. They advertise it for persons who need to get around like a scooter or a cart, but you can put a golf bag on the back of it, and it can go 18 miles an hour. So I thought that's kind of a cool thing. Nice. And they even put one with a cover. So, and it's whatever they develop next. A little bit on current trends. I was a little surprised by this, but then you have to think worldwide and globally. They're anticipating the e-bike, just e-bike. I'm not talking about other mobility devices. It's going to be a $54.48 billion industry worldwide. And as you can see, the trend, what we've seen in the United States with sales, as we've seen everything trending up across the U.S. in these devices. If you're out and about on the weekends, in the mornings, school days especially, we see a lot of the kids riding these to school. They're becoming very popular. I'm excited the kids are outside and not inside, and they're getting outside, and that's a great thing. But there is some concerns we've run into related to these. So when we're looking at classifications, we're just talking e-bikes now. To be an e-bike, it has to have pedals on it. If it doesn't have pedals, if they took the pedals off the e-bike, it is no longer classified as an e-bike by state law. And there's 3 classifications, class 1 through 3. We're going to unpack those a little bit more on another slide. You have stand-up electric scooters, and as you can see below them, it says what they have. They don't have pedals. You don't have to have a driver's license. We're talking about a driver's license to operate them, and you don't have to have a registration for those. You have moped or motor scooters. They don't have pedals, but you do have to have a Class M license to operate those, and they do require registration. Electric motorcycles, and we're not talking about the small little pocket bikes here. We're talking about full-size electric motorcycles here. They don't have pedals, and of course you have to have a license and registration. And then the little electric dirt bikes, pit bikes, pocket bikes are what they're called. Those things cannot be operated anywhere on sidewalks or public roadways. Whether you're an adult with a driver's license or not, those can be operated on private property. And we see a few of these around town. Kind of to unpack the e-bike a little bit more, the definition of an e-bike means any bicycle with a top assisted speed of 28 miles per hour or less and equipped with fully operational pedals and an electric motor fewer than 750 watts. And then they break them down into classifications. The class 1, it cannot exceed 20 miles per hour and it must have pedals. They have class 2s, which must have pedals but can be operated with a throttle only. It's the only one that you can have a throttle to operate it. You don't have to have a pedal assist with that one. But it cannot exceed 20 miles an hour. And then the class 3, which is the one that can go anywhere from 20 to 28 miles per hour, but it must have pedals, and it must be a pedal assist device. The state also requires all these devices to have a clear label on them marking what classification they are, and they're very specific. I can't remember the font. I just know it has to be size 9, but I can't remember what font it has to be in on these bikes. The state is also very clear about that these are considered the same as, with the exception of the Class 3, you must be at least 15 years or older to operate that. The state's also very clear that they have the same autonomy to operate as a standard bicycle. So a bike can operate on a sidewalk unless local ordinance prohibits that. Bicycle can operate on a roadway as long as it's riding as far to the right as practicable, or if there are bike lanes and you're mandated by law to ride in a bike lane if there's a bike lane available. There's no age requirements to these except for the Class 3. So you can have a 9-year-old out operating a vehicle that travels 20 miles an hour under state law unless you have something prohibiting that. There's also no helmet laws in place within the state for these. Those are all local ordinance where you see those. So some current Texas laws also, like I said, e-bikes are generally treated the same as bicycle. State law does limit local regulations. So if we wanted to put something in place that said you cannot ride your e-bike on public roadways, the state would probably slap us on the back of the hand and say you can't do something like that. Cities do retain authority in certain locations and circumstances, and generally what I'm speaking about there is I'm talking about our sidewalks, our trail system within our parks, and we already have some ordinances in place that can deal with that. You know, they can't be out riding across the grassy areas in the parks. And statute also helps with a lot too. You can't be out doing damage to our sport courts or damage to our trails. And then the other big one that you do see some cities put in place as it relates to ordinances is they talk about you can't wear, they prohibit them from wearing like earbuds while they're riding them. That would have to be a local ordinance that would prohibit something like that. They can wear earbuds. It's not a smart thing to do, but they can wear earbuds while they're out riding these. And a helmet again is not required.
Have you ever known a smart teenager?
You know, I had moments of greatness as a teenager, but not all the time. I understand that. So, so some safety considerations are speed of these devices on sidewalks and trails. This one came up. It came up on occasion, especially during the school year. A couple of our crossing guards had reservations and concerns about these. As you start getting a lot of groups of kids and parents walking to our schools, and you have somebody come through on an e-bike, and they're moving along. Even if they're moving along 7-8 miles an hour, nobody walks 7 or 8 miles an hour. You know, it's a faster vehicle, and a lot of times the experience of the rider, there's some concerns with that. And again, I mentioned the school zones. There's concerns about rider experience. There's concerns about, and you see a lot of them riding double. We've had, in the last 6 months, we've had 2 incidents within the city involving e-bikes. The first one was back a little longer, 6 months ago, was in December of last year. We had 2 teenagers riding on a e-bike. A car struck them. One of the riders came off and had some traumatic head injuries. Now that rider was wearing a helmet, but still we're talking about a car striking them. So some of the concerns are that those things are really not meant to carry 2 passengers on them, but we see 2 passengers being carried a lot. And I have to go back and say there were a lot of times when I had a bicycle, you know, I put my buddy on the front of it on the handlebars and stuff and ride down the street. It wasn't safe. The other one was a malfunction. The piece of equipment happened actually at Crown Over Middle School, where the handlebars apparently came loose off the bike and the person tumbled over the front end of it. It was not a car involved. So those are the 2 that I know of incidents involving where there were injuries involved in an e-bike that made it to my office. I heard about it. So, you know, use in public spaces. Like I said, they can use these on roadways. They can use them on sidewalks. They can use them on our park trails, within our parks, our shared use paths, and parking lots. And I say parking lots as long as an owner of that property, if it's private property, doesn't come out and basically trespass them from riding in the property. Even if the owner posts something that says, please don't ride your e-bike in my parking lot, we can't take action on that because we can't enforce another business's request that way. So Some potential ordinance considerations, and I'm not here tonight to ask us to go forward with an ordinance, I'm just considerations to think about are speed restrictions. Do we want to look at speed restrictions on our sidewalks, or how do we want to handle that? Some cities have put speed restrictions in space that they're traveling on sidewalks that are occupied by walking pedestrians. Equipment requirements and prohibitions. As I mentioned, some cities have prohibited wearing the earbuds while you're operating one of these, and then wearing helmets. The helmet varies. I've seen it as 18, under 18, and I've seen it younger than 16 in a few of the cities I've looked at. And then any other local regulations that we might want to consider regarding these. Education and outreach. Public awareness campaigns. This is where I think the money is on something like this, and making sure we get out and do as much public awareness as we can. We have put out a couple of infographics, and I'm sure you've seen them with other cities. They've put out basically saying, hey, this is how these are broke down. These are the requirements for these devices right here. Partnership with schools. I've already met with Lake Dallas ISD. We've discussed with them. They actually put out a letter late last year that said, hey, don't ride the little pocket motorcycles to school anymore. They're going to call parents to come pick those up. Talking with Denton ISD, I met with Superintendent Thompson and Jason Fouch, and after I met with them this summer, they're looking at doing something similar to Lake Dallas ISD to put something out to parents to let them know what the kids cannot ride to schools. So we are working with our schools. And then community outreach, reaching out to their HOAs, meeting with those groups, trying to get down to the parents themselves, and echo some of our concerns that we have because once they leave the house, I personally have stopped two. One of them riding the wrong way down 2181 with two riders on it, and one that didn't recognize the stop sign. And then there was and of course, then I stopped a four-wheeler the other day that was ATV riding down the sidewalk. So have that community engagement with our parents, and I'm even thinking PTA meetings. If I can get on the board and just have 10 minutes in front of a group of parents at a PTA meeting to discuss some of these things. Again, for us, it seems like this year it went into overdrive at Christmas. There were a lot of brand new ones riding around after Christmas this year. So here I am tonight. Council, I'm seeking feedback, questions, any additional research you'd like for me to do, what you would like to see. Do we want to discuss ordinance development? So you know I have drafted an ordinance, just something that I want to have prepared. Not ready to move forward with that at this time. And then, are there any other public education efforts that y'all would like to see us do? I normally will not say something like this, but with the popularity of these, we're going to have a substantial accident involving one of these. It's going to happen. But I'll say the same thing. We've growing up or working in in the first 10 years of my job, everybody still likes riding bicycles, and we had some serious accidents involving youth on bicycles as well. I just want to make sure that we're doing all we can and all we should do as a municipal government to try to get information out and get ahead of the situation. So,
where do you think, as far as ordinance development, what type of ordinance do you think would be the most beneficial? I almost hit a kid last week. She blew through a stop sign. She didn't have on a helmet. And if I had not hit my brakes, I would have hit her.
as limited as possible of an ordinance. State law does a good job with a lot of this, so I wouldn't want to do anything that state law already covers and addresses. Let us address things through state law that already exist. I'll be honest, as a parent, I don't want a government telling me my kid has to wear a helmet to ride. As somebody involved with public safety, it scares the dickens out of me seeing them out there riding without helmets on. My kids, I made them wear helmets when they rode. And when they got around the corner, if I didn't see them, they might have taken it off, but I definitely bought them the helmets and I made them wear the helmets.
Right. Well, we're told to wear a seatbelt. You know, I mean, if I would have hit her,
That'd been ugly.
I mean, I mean, I was in my neighborhood, so it wasn't like I was going 40. But if I would have hit her, it would have hurt her.
And yes, and my other biggest concern with if I think ordinance, anything we do, is the speed of these devices related to the experience of the rider. A road biker, somebody who rides road bikes, buddies of mine, they can get those things cranking down the road. They're experienced, they ride them on the roadway. 15 or 20 miles an hour is a pretty good clip of speed to be moving along. And I try to think of a 10-year-old or 12-year-old or even a 15-year-old that got this brand new operating that. Everything goes well as long as there's a straight line, but the second something comes up that they have to negotiate,
Yeah.
it can become a challenge. So that's where if I'm looking at where I have concerns.
So I will say from personal experience, your awareness campaign is working because I happen to have ordered one of these for my 14-year-old last week. And so I had looked at your little infographic and looked at exactly what kind of, and it's not easy. I mean, they don't necessarily on Amazon make it easy to figure out which is which. So definitely that helps. And by the way, of course, I had to take it for a spin. And 20 miles an hour that's brisk, and it could be a lot for a kid. So, I mean, my thought would be, how do we step up the information campaign? Because I know not everybody in the community, religiously follows your Facebook page in the way that I do, Chief.
I know there's one now.
Yes, like. But, like Kelly's talking about, that's simple rules of the road. We don't need new laws to tell people to follow stop signs, right? Those laws already exist.
Yeah.
So how do we step that up? Do we, LDISD, or do we have the SROs educate these kids, or can we have somebody get in front of them?
I think the answer is yes to all your questions right there. Is yes, we can use our schools, and I've done some of my best education in churches because I can capture people. They're a captured audience on Sunday mornings, and I've had that opportunity before too. So,
Sorry, but there might also be a value in writing a couple citations to a couple kids for blowing through stop signs, because I guarantee you the first kid at the middle school that gets an actual citation, everybody's going to know real quick.
the other thing that we're going to begin looking at doing is for the pocket bikes, and that's for the ones that you just can't ride no matter what. You can't operate those. And the second you take the pedals off of an e-bike, it becomes a pocket bike. Is one, we'll be stopping whoever's riding it. If it's an adult, we're gonna have them call another adult to come pick them up, or they can walk and leave their bike there. And with a child, what we'll start doing is we'll start notifying parents to come pick them up. There's nothing, that's kind of it. Lake Dallas PD is actually considering, and again, it's a staffing issue for them. They only have one officer on. They're considering calling a wrecker out to put a hook on that bike and haul it off, and the parents get to go pay the fee to get the bike out of the impound. I'm not wanting to go there.
Yeah.
We have a little more staffing and a little more bandwidth, wait a little longer for a parent or somebody to come out. And again, I just wanted to introduce that there are other cities that are putting ordinances in place. I'm not asking us to put one in place, but I just want to convey those areas that if we did one, I'd want to be limited about it. And I'd want to make sure what we were doing was, one, we're putting things out that are genuine safety issues. If we do that, anything else we need to do to beef up in our parks to avoid damage from occurring to our parks. And I don't know if you are aware, we've had a couple of issues where they do the bathroom door, the burnouts on the sport courts, which are all things covered by state law. I can file criminal mischief charges in those situations on that, as long as they're 10 or over. If they're younger than 10, we just call parents out, and I don't know if the city seeks some kind of reimbursement for it or not. So it is a problem, not a problem. It is something that we're seeing. It is something that's on the horizon. It's only become more prevalent in our communities as we continue to do great things like build great trail systems and everything else where people can get out and enjoy the outdoors. We're going to see more people enjoying the outdoors, and this is going to be part of it. So,
Since we happen to have the parks folks here, are they tearing up our bike trails at all? Are we seeing any negative impact?
We have Norby here too. They say yes, they're tearing them up.
They absolutely are. They love to do burnouts on the trails.
I know I would if I was
They
15.
created a mountain bike, dirt bike trail at Meadowview Park, that's where we're seeing a lot of our damage. They've created some jumps and damage to the basketball court. So we're seeing it mainly at Meadowview Park. We're seeing it on the trails behind Community Park, and then Agora, a little bit of damage. to
So
the
are
building.
e-bikes allowed on the Dorba Trail?
Yes, they are.
they are.
They're not a problem, honestly.
Yeah.
It's the bike.
Pocket bikes are that classification.
Yeah, and I'll add though, but those things right there, we catch somebody riding through the grass, like they remember that dirt bike path they made, they tore it all up, but the grass was everywhere. We can file criminal mischief charges. For tearing up the grass, there's a cost to the city to have to repair that, fill in the holes and everything else. That's criminal
Let me
mischief.
rephrase. An e-moto is allowed, a pocket bike that's electric, are those allowed on the Dorba
Now,
Trail?
if it doesn't have pedals, chances are it's not allowed on the trail at all.
Okay, so that sort of, because what I foresee happening is we probably have a handful of kids in town that have these e-motos and the pocket bike. In fact, I've seen some gas-powered pocket bikes. Well, you found a four-wheeler.
Yeah, so it's,
So they're around, so what I would be afraid of is we do a campaign and then they're like, oh, we have mountain bike trails, we'll just go ride them out there. We need to educate that the Dorba trails and any city trails, you cannot ride them, even if it's dirt.
right, the only place they are allowed is on private property. So if there was somebody who had like a motocross kind of park or something like that, and you have permission to ride there, or somebody owned a
But
big piece of
Dorba is
property.
not private property.
No, it's
and I
not.
don't think a lot of people would realize that.
Yeah, and that'd be a great thing to put out to the public and let them know that as well, so.
And then, especially leaning into the education piece, I get, not that I wouldn't want to make sure that we keep the e-motos off the streets, but when you see the videos of the 14-year-old kids running from the cops, that seems like you've taken something that started off as a warning and now it's escalated into some criminal, we don't want the kids running.
No, we don't.
So please don't. It's a season of education unless we catch you a second time.
Right.
And we can maybe even grab a photo of the device that was not allowed on the road so that on Facebook, we get
Oh.
some real time. This is an example of one that we caught that was not allowed on the road because it had no pedals.
Yeah, there's things that we can do like that. I'll pull the person out of it and we can take a picture of those kind of things. We can say, hey, caught this, can't ride them out there. You're absolutely correct. I mean, I think we need to do much more of an education campaign than what we're currently doing. We've done what a lot of cities are doing. But I don't like doing that. We can do more. Even to the point that we're working on an education class that we want to get posted and invite parents, or if they want to come in and register for a class, we could teach it on an evening and we'll show up for it, but we at least want to put the effort into it.
So any other questions or comments? Do we have?
On the earbud thing, is that a thing that we currently have or no? Like no, on the earbud thing? Like you said, if it's not a state requirement that they can't ride with earbuds?
We don't have an ordinance for that, so.
Okay. I would like
Yeah,
that.
that would maybe be the one.
Or headphones.
earbuds.
Well, I mean, oh, okay, I see. You can't see them.
But I get the reason for it. is you
Well,
can't
it's
hear
just
traffic.
dumb.
Normally it's
Dumb.
normally that's a secondary thing
If
that
you want to
you.
be dumb, you're allowed to be dumb. Just don't affect other people. Well, that's the problem though, is that it does impact other people.
So I think the challenge with any ordinance that we may put forward, if it wasn't something like a helmet that was easy to identify, is now we're, asking our police officers to focus on things that, like your, radarring kids and all that kind
I'll
of
give you
stuff.
that. How do we determine speed and what speed do we determine on our trails? Do we base it on the 3-foot sidewalk? Is it a 6-foot walking trail? How do we determine what is a desired speed on that? I've looked at other cities and some of them have 12 miles an hour, which I think is kind of odd doing it at a number like that. But you see different numbers on trails, so how do we determine
Well,
that?
there's no
Can they determine their speed?
12-year-old doesn't
The
know.
only one that has a speedometer on it is a Type 3.
Yeah.
Typically the only ones that have a speedometer.
That's 15 and up. That's the 20 to 28 miles.
Anticipate them getting faster?
Lord, I hope not. I mean, I
You know what
don't.
I mean, I don't,
I don't know. Now, you're not allowed to go in right now, and there are kits out there right now where you can put a throttle on a Class 1. It doesn't make it, it's no longer a Class 1, and you cannot operate that anymore because it's got a Class 1 stamp and you put a throttle on
So
it.
those unicycle ones, you can watch videos right now on YouTube of them going 90 miles an hour on the highway.
You gotta be kidding.
on that,
the little unicycle.
Yeah.
So they are already plenty fast enough. I think the state regs are helping us unless they're buying them from China or.
We get a lot of
fixing
video
them
with the
themselves.
ER too.
Kits that you can buy to
Yeah.
aftermarket stuff.
Oh, so that
So we
is,
don't have a consensus on any further regulation is what I'm hearing.
Wait, what was the consensus on helmets?
Yeah, that's.
We're not, or we are requiring that? Sorry.
No, I interrupted you.
So
What'd you do if they were like 18 or younger? Because,
or 17 or younger.
typically what I see is I see 15 or younger is what I've seen, or younger than 16 years of age is what I've seen with a lot of the helmets. But again, here's the challenge to it. One is the officers have to, one, enforce it out there, because if you put something in place, you're gonna have to enforce it. I'll be honest, I have a hard time writing a ticket to a 10-year-old, because that's the youngest age you can write a citation to. Younger than 10, you can't issue them a citation. And I have a hard time issuing a 10-year-old a citation.
you wouldn't cite them, you'd cite their parents.
I know.
You can't?
The parents aren't in violation. They're at home sitting on the couch. They don't need to wear a helmet there. I mean, it's a tough thing. And I'm not trying to be quip or anything like that. I'm not trying to be, it's just, it's a challenging thing. I've been down this road before with this, and it's tough whenever you do this.
I mean, if I would've hit that little girl, not only would she have been potentially changed, so would I. And so it's, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I'm typically for less government, right? But that worries me. Like I said, they make me wear a seatbelt. They make me make my kid wear a seatbelt. So, and sometimes the younger people don't know what they don't know. They are invincible and,
Well, and they don't have parents
You
that
know?
would enforce that for them sometimes, unless something happened that would make the parents feel they needed to.
I don't know, it's a hard one for me. I
The
get it though.
challenge, and I don't want to interrupt, the challenge that I have with a helmet ordinance is that there is no guarantee that that girl that ran the stop sign would have been wearing a helmet anyway.
No, I get it.
And so the ordinance, I think, is sometimes in place to make people feel better when the reality is, you know, they may not wear them, and it's just another thing that we're gonna have to be out in front of the public
Would it have been any
deciding.
different if she was on a regular bike versus an e-bike?
Well, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Would you have to stop at a stop sign on a regular bike?
Yes.
I mean, she blew right through that stop sign. I didn't even see her
Okay.
because there was a car parked on the street.
So does anybody want to move forward with the discussion on the helmets?
Not right now.
No.
I don't.
Okay. So,
What
anything else?
I've got is there anything else you would like to see from me? Is there any other information you would like me to research to provide?
Just the info.
Just the info that I talked about this
Well,
evening?
not so much from your presentation, but, hey, we've seen an uptick in this sort of accident, or whatever the case. And maybe if there was an ordinance that came, it would be to address a specific thing that we happen to see.
I'll use if it's okay, I'll use the weekly report, and I'll make reports on it in there. That way everybody can get to the weekly report, so. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, chief.
Workshop agenda item number 2. Does anybody want to discuss anything on the regular session agenda for this evening?
Nope.
Then we will go on ahead and adjourn the workshop. Sir, do we need to start?
We do have one closed session item, if y'all wanted to go into that first before we go back out for the meeting. but
Let's do that.
Wanna do that?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it'll take long.